guys, we have an urgent breaking news coming out. US President to speak from Oval Office at 3 p.m. today. Now, Trump is scheduled to make an official announcement today at 3 p.m. from the Oval Office, according to his public schedule. No details yet on what he will address, but it should be worth tuning into. Alright, so I want to show you something really quick here, guys. Let me just pull up this information. If you can't, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. So the US president is expected to make an announcement from the Oval Office. There are currently no details available about the topic of the announcement scheduled for 3 p.m. Eastern Time. However, the president has been vocal in recent weeks about a variety of topics, including the Holy Land Hamas war, the government shutdown, lowering prescription drug costs in the United States, and most importantly, fighting violent crime. Alright guys, before I start, for those of you that want to send us letters or prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife Jessica Santiago at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida 34691. And for those of you that want to help and support the channel, we do have the Cash App link and the PayPal link in the comments box and also the description box. Thank you again for your support. Alright, so I don't think it's going to be the Holy Land. I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think it's even going to be the prescription drug cost. I believe it's going to be more about some of the gov shutdown, but I believe this is going to be more about Ukraine, the Tomahawks. He's possibly going to address the nation that we're going to get involved. So give me a second. Let me just finish reading this here. On Wednesday, the U.S. president shared that the FBI has cuffed at least 23,000 criminals since he returned to the White House in January. 23,000 criminals. That is absolute nuts. All right. So, what are your thoughts, guys? Trump to make Oval Office announcement Thursday, today. What are your thoughts? Leave comments down below. What do you think he's going to be announcing? But I want to bring this one up. This is very important. Do not fall asleep on the Tomahawks. I'm telling you guys, this is like the big urgent news. Tomahawks for Ukraine, maybe, but only if Americans fire them. I've been talking about this for the past several months. If we give them Tomahawks, Zelensky will not push the button. We push the button. Actually, Donald is the one that's going to push the button. And that's basically we striking the bear. I mean, that's some serious stuff there. Ukraine has asked for hundreds of Tomahawks. Stop! 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 Hundreds? I thought he wanted like 10 or 15. Hundreds? Unbelievable. Ukraine has asked for hundreds of Tomahawk cruise missiles, and if it gets the green light, they'll maybe get 50, but won't be allowed to operate them. Told you, because they don't have the satellite we do. So instead, U.S. contractors would handle targeting and launch, keeping Ukraine at arm's strength from the sensitive black box tech that powers the missile complex navigation system. So if you kind of think about it, it's us at war with the bear. We firing towards the bear. We firing towards the bear. This is just absolutely wrong. This is absolutely wrong. So again, we just placing our Tomahawk in Ukraine, and we the one who's pushing button. That is just being sneaky. That's like slick stuff right there. So, wow. Okay, so it says here, a senior Western official explained this setup is meant to avoid escalation with Russia and avoid handing over classified tech to a military still transitioning from Soviet system. That is absolute crazy. That is nuts. So look at this here. So again, that's the Tomahawk cruise missile, guided missile that can be launched from submarines, ships, or land carrying conventional or nuclear warhead. Man. Woo! Wow. That thing could hit Moscow. It could hit, man, look at that. It could hit the entire European region. Turkey is like, oh, great. um, you even have Kazakhstan and other countries. They could get hit too. That is absolute crazy. Wow. So once again, Tomahawk for Ukraine, maybe, but only if Americans fire them. Give me a second here. Let me just continue with this story here. Now, a lot of people keep saying that Tomahawk was sent. No, they weren't. Tomahawk has not been deployed to Ukraine. Not yet. They're still working on it. Alright, so if the US approves the delivery of Tomahawk cruise missiles to Ukraine, they are expected to arrive relatively quickly. Wow, with US contractor providing support in their use. Now it says here Financial Times citing a senior Western military officials involved in a discussion. Now the arrangement would remove the need for lengthy training of Ukrainian personnel and allow Washington to retain control over target selections and other operational decisions. It will also reduce the risk of missile technology falling into Russian hands. Now, NATO officials believe that Tomahawk missiles would complement what Ukraine has already been achieving using its long-range drones, but would not replace them. A senior NATO representative said that Moscow is likely to respond. You hear that? The bear is likely to respond with irresponsible rhetoric that includes a little bit of nuclear saber rattling, as well as intensifying attack along the front line and some larger strike inside Ukraine. So the bear is saying, if you hit us, we could use nukes. You know that. Because Ukraine is not pushing the button. America, you are. America's like, no, we're not. It's in Ukraine territory. The bear's like, but who's pushing the button? We are. But we're not doing it. Because it's in Ukraine. It's twisting games here. Man. Alright, so quote from NATO officials. But I don't think that there is a very concrete, specific response that the bear could execute here that will really be something that was not well anticipated. It was reported earlier that the sleeping giant, the U.S., could supply between 20 and 50 Tomahawk. One of the reasons for this limited number is that the Pentagon bought only 200 of them in 2022 and has already expended more than 120 of them. And Zelensky is like, we need hundreds. Man, dude, you're acting like this is McDonald's. We're not selling chicken nuggets here. Unbelievable. That is the monster there. But I want to bring something up here really quick. Give me a second. Give me a second. So we could see something from the bear. Whoops. Poseidon. The bear underwater doomsday torpedo submarine. No, it's not a 300 megaton super nuke that will unleash a 1,500-foot radioactive tsunami to swallow cities whole. But it's still terrifying. The Bear Poseidon is a nuclear-powered unmanned underwater drone, not a missile. Alright, so it's not a submarine. I truly apologize. It travels entirely underwater, bypassing missile defenses by cruising in stealth mode at low speeds and deep depths. Its likely yields somewhere between 2 and 3 megaton, enough to flatten coastal cities and irradiate harbors, but not to flood continents. Designed for a second strike, it can sneak close to U.S. shores and detonate offshore, spreading radioactive seawater and wrecking infrastructure. The sleeping giant calls it difficult to detect, but not invisible, and definitely not invincible. Now, Western navies are already working on ways to counter it, so no, it won't destroy half the planet, but it's a floating nuclear bot with a growth, and that's bad enough. Give me a second here. Let me just play this really quick. Give me a second here. I want to play this. Ooh. Okay. That was that's something that you see in the movies, but this is not a movie. This is the real deal. So this thing could cause it could cause something catastrophic. Something that the navies are trying to find a way to, defense and countering this torpedo, Poseidon. Man, these are very tough times that we are living. Ooh, breaking news just came out now. The Bear warns the U.S. commander you send Tomahawks face escalation. The Bear is fuming over the U.S. commander hint at aiming Crane with Tomahawks, calling it a new level of escalation. Moscow claims that the equipment could hit them directly and insists Crane couldn't launch them. We just talked about that. Again, Z cannot push the button without help from who? Us, the Western. Meanwhile, the U.S. commander shrugs and says Putin just needs to stop, people. Donald, boo-boo, baby. You were doing the same thing too. You were giving equipments to Benjamin that were taking out many in the strip. You can't do that, Donald. You know difference, Donald. You're doing the same thing. Meanwhile, Donald shrugged and says Putin just need to stop, people. Less diplomacy, more long-range firepower. That's the new peace plan, apparently. Donald, here's the thing. There's going to be a lot more that's going to be taken out if you send that massive equipment. Alright, so the Bear's giving them warning. Oh boy. This ain't the Brady Bunch. It's the Golden Boys, not the Golden Girls. Alright, so the U.S. commander will speak today by phone with Vladimir, according to reports from Axios, only a day before his meeting Friday at the White House with Zelensky. where the two leaders are expected to discuss the transfer of additional air defenses and long-range offensive capabilities, including BGM-109 Tomahawk land strike cruise missiles to Crane. All right, it's getting really hot. Now you know what's going to happen? The Doomsday Radio is going to be activated again. All right, Russia's going to activate the Doomsday Radio. There's going to be all these codes that's going to be put out there. That's like military code and stuff like that. They always do that every time world leaders and speak to, you know, Putin. There's always the Doomsday Radio that start blasting. But again, Donna says, you know, we just trying to get you to the round table. Maybe this will wake you up. You know what the bear's saying? Hold my vodka. I got Orishnik coming now. Yeah, this is not going to look good. Thank you so much for watching. I will keep you updated with that 3 p.m. Oval Office announcement. We don't know what it is, but one thing I tell you, it has a lot to do with these biblical war and also Gov shutdown. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Till next time later. Peace.